Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there. Consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. Yep. There we go. Hi everybody, good to see you. We're here with Obsouleet. If you guys have been watching virtual concerts, he was on. Um, a couple actually was on too, and this is also a crazy coincidence because he was actually from Facebook. He was actually from Facebook too. So, welcome. I'm so excited to have you with us.
I appreciate you guys having me for sure.
Yeah, of course. And wow, a lot has gone on since of course the concerts. Which your shows have been amazing. Of course, I sat in the whole 2 hours of the ones you did, and the ones that you did was like amazing. I remember.
I appreciate that. That's actually how I wound up getting linked up with the guys over at Enigmatic. I did the first one, The Rise of the Phoenix, and they had reached out to me. And ever since then, due to that festival, I've actually been working really closely with those guys. So it paid dividends in a lot of ways for me. And it was just kind of a spurt of the moment. I can't even remember how I found out about it, but I'm definitely glad I did it because it's definitely presented some great opportunities since then.
Oh yeah, definitely. And a little secret. I don't know if you remember, but we chatted on Facebook. That account's hacked now, but when it wasn't, I did chat with you on. I don't know if you remember me chatting on Facebook. I don't know. I don't think you remember.
I was gonna say, I think it might, but was it Instagram maybe?
No, we didn't chat. It was Facebook. You were called Job
Okay,
Sports and on Facebook.
okay. Yeah, I was just say, possibly if it's been a while, then yeah. I was just say I
Yeah,
can't tell you wait how many people I'm constantly talking to daily, just between promotion and everything else, trying to push this music.
absolutely. And you're one of those, when I saw you on Facebook, you were one of those struggling kind, like the ones you would normally see in Facebook groups of music promotions.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. I've been so a little backstory. I've been doing this for a little over 13 years now. The first 10, 11 years that I did it, I was part of a like group, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. It was me and another guy. And we just kind of, did things, how we did them. I'm not going to bash or sit here and, sit here and reminisce on old times and act like, everything is what it is. And I'm grateful for it. I learned a lot throughout those 10 plus years, doing music that way. But, along the years, I had kids and everything else throughout the years. And, I'd kind of lost the passion, so to speak, after him and I had kind of had a falling out and really had to, come to Jesus. Like, is this really what I want to continue doing? He wasn't the only friend, that I have lost along the way. I mean, this dream, that so many people chase, a lot of people I don't think realize comes with that. I've lost friendships, relationships, all of that, doing this. And so I kind of had a come to Jesus meeting with my fiance, and her and I kind of sat down and talked about, do I still want to do this? And, because I always loved doing music. It was never about, I don't want to be rich and famous. I mean, obviously, if it came, I'm not going to complain about it. But to me, it's just what I love doing. It's a release. It's a way to express how I'm feeling, or just getting a good vibe. And I told her, I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it my way this time. I'm rebranding, starting over from square one, and I'm going to come up with a new name and a whole new concept of what I want to do. And that was, let's see, it's 2022 now, so that was in 2020, yeah, the end of 2019, 2020, when I had first kind of started back to the drawing boards. And ever since then, I mean, it's amazing. In the last year, I have done the two online festivals that I've done 7 to 8 shows in different cities around where I live. And I've done more, in the last year doing music my way than I ever did, in the 10 plus years doing it any other way.
Oh wow. Okay, firstly, 13 years is impressive. First of all, 13 is
It's
and
what I
wow, and just wow, like I had no idea how much pain you endured, you know. I I I've been where you are. Like I know how that feels like when you're at the bottom, you're at rock bottom, and then you start to question your, musical talent. But the thing that I found most amazing was that you got yourself up and you're rebranding. I love Obsolete, because that shows that you're different. That shows that that shows that you're not like everybody else. I mean, you're the only obsolete. There's no other obsolete. Well, at least the way your artist name is spelled. Which how did like I never thought you were gonna. I never thought there was another way to spell obsolete.
So that kind of came from the name in itself. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan, but Matt and Jeff Hardy, they kind of did this thing for a while. They were like the dark, Matt and Jeff Hardy, and obsolete was just kind of one of their things. Like Matt's, he was going to delete you and make you obsolete. And Jeff Hardy actually has like I don't know if they're a punk band or whatever you would call them, but they're called For Oxygen. And he's got a song where, he had said something about the obsolete. And I've been a huge wrestling fan, all my life, especially, Matt and Jeff Hardy. And it was, like I said, when my fiance and I had kind of talked about, who I wanted to be. And, that's kind of how I'm treating what I'm doing now as an artist. I'm combining what I see myself as the person inside the studio, and the person, doing the music, but also a combination of a wrestling character to a point, because that's has a lot of influence on what I do as well. And I don't know why, it just immediately, that was the first thing that popped into my head, was obsolete. And of course, I didn't want to spell it normal, because nothing about me is normal by any means. So I sat down and kind of just spelled it out the way it was, and kind of came up with different ways to spell it, with numbers and this, that, and the other. And I wrote that down, and I was like, man, I really like that. It's got the soul right in the middle of it. It's, it still looks like the exact word, just spelled different. And I ran with it, and it was, everybody seems to love it. That's one thing everybody notices. They're like, oh, I love the way you spelled that. I see you got the soul in the middle of that. Like, because that's what this music is for me. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, everybody, the dream is to live off music and have millions of dollars in the bank account and live happy, and that, obviously, if that came, like I said, I wouldn't complain. But to me, this is who I am, in my way. I'm not somebody that'll sit down and express myself and emotions and feelings to friends or family, but I'll sit down and in a pen and paper, and let go some of my harshest things that I don't even want to, think about or talk about. And it's just, the passion is really what drives it for me.
Oh, I absolutely love the passion. I definitely love, how much you fought for music because you fought like so much, just just for music. Like how insane is that you fought so much? After you left with your duo, you were able to pick yourself up and then got new music. Like, like how is that even possible? Like, did you ever think in a million years that this would happen?
Honestly, when him and I had first fell out, I didn't. He was literally the first person I ever did music with, and had always done music. I'd collabed with a few other people and stuff, but he was the guy I went and recorded with. He was the guy, that I went and did shows with. Like, so there was that whole, can I do it by myself? I went from doing one and a half verses a song, or occasionally two verses on a song, to now I'm gonna have to do all three and the hooks. Can I do this? And it was really, just believing. I I'm not getting too much into my backstory and where I come from, but I was always told the opposite. The expectations for me were, nothing. I was a little, deviant hoodlum kid that wasn't ever going to amount to shit, and so it took many years for me to even believe in myself. But music is what saved me. And music is where I've always felt like I was at home. So, that doubt was there, but there was also that, that's kind of who I am. And not acknowledging it, I'm cheating myself.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had a feeling about tuning yourself out. I had a feeling about that too. But it's so crazy how your life turned out because I gave you the concert. Well, I passed you on the phone. I remember on Facebook. You either were one of those people in the group, or you might have reached out to me. But um, from that point on, lots changed. I can see a lot.
Yeah, I've been in positions. I met Wishmaster Beats this year, which was a huge, for me, was a huge thing. I've got features coming with some pretty big name artists coming up this year that I'm going to be dropping. I've been putting in a lot of work. It's been a grind. I'm not gonna act like any of it's been easy, but it's all about how bad do you want it. And one of my favorite quotes I heard in a song one time, it said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I got to that point, like, not necessarily the success, but if anything, I want to prove to myself and I want to prove to my kids that, no matter what, no matter how many people tell you no, no matter how many people, say you can't, if you just do what you love and chase what you want to do, anything's possible. It's not going to be easy, but anything worth having never is.
Absolutely. And oh god, that was like Shakespeare.
I'm an old soul, man. I mean, I think that's why, a lot of people relate with my music and like, the stuff that I do. One, I know I have a very unique sound, but everything I do is authentic. I mean, it's genuinely me. I try to, some of my songs I speak personally, but I try to leave it open, so other people can relate. But that's my pain. That's my struggle that I'm putting into this music because that's who I am. That's all I know how to be. I'm not going to be up here acting flashy and all of that. That's not me. I'm that humble guy that looks out for everybody, and that's just who I am, and it portrays in my music. And that's I think why a lot of people connect with me the way they do, because like I tell everybody, I'm an artist, of course, but I'm a fan first. Music's what got me through all of my life, and still to this day. If I'm having a shitty day or I just want to vibe out, music's what we all go to. And that at the end of the day, it's a relief, no matter how you use it.
Yes, preach on, preach on. The people couldn't hear you in the back.
I hear him clapping.
Yeah, I do too. Now, wait a second. You mentioned earlier about kids. You're dad too?
Yep. So I just turned 33 in December. I've got three kids. My oldest, she's not biologically mine, but I've been in her life since she was about a year and a half old. And my other two, my son is 7 and my daughter is 6. They are 11 months and 2 weeks apart to the day. Unfortunately, they live in Oklahoma. I live in Kentucky. Um, but I get them, pretty much most of the summer. I get them, any kind of breaks that I can. And like I said, they're one of my biggest reasons for doing this as well, because I was that kid. I can tell you, I almost remember it like it was yesterday, telling to people that I guess were supposed to be my parents, that when I grew up I wanted to be a wrestler. We had talked about the wrestling earlier, and just the sheer look. Like, I understand, as a parent now, that's obviously a pretty big dream to have, but you know there was nothing but sheer, you need to have a better idea. Like, there's no way in hell, you just need to basically buck up and prepare to work a factory for the rest of your life and just accept that things are the way they are. And it's like, me as a parent, I'm like, yeah, dreams, they're scary and they're not easy, but I want my kids to believe, if they want to be, to quote Mask Wolf, I guess, if you want to be the best astronaut in the ocean, go for it. Like, dad'll do whatever I can to support you. I'm not gonna tell you it'll be easy, but by all means, I'll hold your hand through it while we figure it out. And that's why I do this music, because at the end of the day, my kids can say, dad chased his dream. And whether it takes me anywhere or not, my kids, my daughter actually just was on video chat with her right before I got on this thing with you. And she's like, daddy, I just want you to know I listen to your music at least every day if I can. And just that right there, like, if nobody else ever listened to my music and liked it, I could die happy. My kids love it. I got them both T-shirts with my little logo on it, and they were both like, you'd have thought a guy gave them $1 million when they got those. Like, I can't wait to wear these and show my friends, and it's like, right there, is that's what I do this for. It.
No, that is so sweet. Aw, it's adorable. It's so adorable.
They they definitely changed me. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was a bad person. I'm 33 years old. I've only been to jail once. Knock on wood. I don't have no felonies. I don't. I've pretty much lived a decent life and tried to do right by people. I've had got my skeletons and all that. But the moment I had met my oldest, like I said, she wasn't even mine. But from the minute she came into my life, it was like, okay, it's time to do what you got to do as a man and a father. And then my son was born, and it was a whole new ball game. And then my youngest, my little girl, she she completed the puzzle. She loves her mama, but she's a daddy's girl for sure. And poor little kid, looks just like me, and it cracks me up. But she loves her some daddy, and I couldn't be happier.
Aw, I'm so happy for you guys. I'm so happy. Aw.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, of course. I've done a couple dads on here, so it's always nice to hear about the kids. It's so nice. Now, I'm curious though, another thing you mentioned earlier is that your kids listen to your music. How does that feel for your kids to listen to your own music? Like, how does it feel? Like, how does it feel? Like, how's their reactions? Like, how's that whole experience like is and has been, them listening?
So it first started last year. When I first started releasing music, I was still living. Well, I say last year, I forget it's 2022. So um, back in 2020, when I first started releasing music as Obsolete, one of the first songs I did was called "My Story." And it's exactly that. It was a very meaningful, heartfelt, this is kind of who I am. And that was the first song that I had really released and kind of pushed. And my kids, had heard it when they had visited the first time after I had recorded it and stuff. And they had went back to their moms, and it had been probably a couple weeks, and I had seen them again. And my daughter's just running around the house, and she's singing, you don't know my story. And it was just like, holy cow. Like, it was weird, because I've heard this same kid running around my house singing, Tom McDonald and Tech Nine and Eminem and all these guys that they all listen to. And just hearing her run around the house singing my song, it just, I don't know, I guess that kind of gave me another spark that really fueled the, okay, this is, I'm doing the right thing. This is who I'm doing it for, and I can't stop now.
Oh yeah, you can't stop now. Look at you. That must have been so amazing. Your daughter's actually singing your song. Aw, I can already envision it right now.
it cracks me up hearing it too because I'm just like, she's singing it word for word, just getting down. And I'm like, I love it.
Oh, I love it too. And that's actually good because now you know who's going to be the musical one in the family now. You know it's going to be the musical one.
It cracks me up. So probably about maybe 3 years ago, I want to say it was right around Christmas time. My ex-wife had a like little MIDI keyboard type thing that you could hook up and play, and she had sent us a video of my daughter sitting there, and she had her little karaoke microphone, and she's playing on the piano all these crazy notes and just singing this song, and I don't know if she knew what she was singing about because it was very random, but it was quite cute watching her just go to it. And like I said, it's stuff like that, that if that's what they wanted to do, cool. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of experience and can tell them a lot of stuff they want to know, but just seeing that, like, it cracks me up that you don't realize how much your kids are like you until you see stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think every dad feels like that too. I feel like they feel like you know, they feel like it's not possible to do that thing in the world until they're kids. Like that's why kids are so important. So that's why they're very important.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a dream, and everybody's, I mean, I tell everybody, I'm a different kind of parent. Like, I don't lie to my kids. I mean, obviously, things like the Santa Clauses and stuff like that, I leave alone, but, it's like I keep it real with my kids because at the end of the day, I wish I guess if we're going to call them parents would have done that with me. Like, nobody prepares you for the world. Like, the world's rough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to rob you of your innocence. I just want you to understand, like, this is what's going on.
Absolutely. And that was another part I like too is that you keep it yourself. Even in your even in your performance. First of all, was that your bedroom, by the way, when you did yours? Were you in your bedroom?
Yeah, yeah. I got my studio set up over here in the corner of the room, and that's where I do all my stuff at.
Ah, wow. Okay. First of all, that is so lucky. So lucky. But you even kept your performance, like you even kept that natural. Like you were just yourself. You went all out, and people, they enjoyed it. I was like, what? That's not a shock. Like, what
it,
the? You guys actually enjoy that?
it
What?
it cracked me up. Aaron had reached out, like I said, after the Rise of the Phoenix festival, and he's like, we were just talking back and forth, and he's like, man, I'm glad you got placed where you did in that spot. He's like, because it kind of just drew everybody in and kept everybody sticking around. He's like, because you're so unique, man. Your sound. He's like, and you look like you were in your element, and I'm like, man, that's if anybody ever wants to know, who I am as a person, just watch me doing music. Like that's me. I'm a whole. It's a whole different person up there because, like I said, I'm in my element. It's like a fish in water.
Oh. I had no idea Aaron responded to you. Wow.
Yeah, he that like I said, I'm actually I'm signed with those guys now and
Oh.
doing um, I'm working on a collab. Well, I say a collaborative EP, but I've got about 12 to 15 beats that my next album is going to be strictly Enigmatic producers. I'm going to reach out to a couple guys on the label and get some features and stuff, and that's going to be the first thing that I really release with those guys. I've got an album that I'm actually dropping. I want to say beginning of February. I'm waiting. Hermie and the guy over at Enigmatics finishing up a couple tracks for me, mixing, mastering, getting those ready. And then I'm releasing the album right around the 1st of February, I'm hoping. And then in between the release of that and finishing this Enigmatic album, once I get that going, I'm going to be dropping the EP in between. It's my collaborative EP called The House of Obsolete Volume 1, The Losers Win Again, and it's going to be my collaborative EP with my, Chris Calico features and Jaron Benton's and some other local guys that I, do music with, and just a collection of, like I said, exactly that, a collaborative EP that I'm going to start doing. in between working on albums and stuff like that. That way I can, showcase, because I love doing my own music, but I love featuring, with other artists, whether it's, them on my songs or, on other people's songs, because like I said, that's just, it's fun for me. A buddy of mine sending over something and, hey man, I think, you sound really dope on this. Would you do a verse for me? And, sitting down and coming up with some stuff for them, and then watching how happy they are. And, one of the guys I just went and did a show last night up in Louisville. And one of the main reasons I was going, my buddy Mo White was performing, and him and I got two songs together. So he was wanting me to come and perform our two songs with him. So I was like, yeah, I got offered to do a set, but at the time I just had, too much stuff going on and didn't really want to guarantee, that I could come and do that. So then it was Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, the guy that was putting the show on had messaged me and he's like, hey man, are you still coming to perform with Mo? And I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And he's like, well, bring a set with you. I had a couple guys cancel. So, if you'd like to fill in, I'd appreciate you, doing a little set. So I wound up getting to do a little 15-minute set as well. And, just stuff like that, like watching people come together through music, it's awesome to me.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling very well. Hey, by the way, did Mo like his performance? Did he like it?
He did. He was super excited to get on. He like I said, when I found out about the next one, he was one of the first people that came to my mind. I just met him this year, and actually the first show I met him at was his first ever show that he had done. He had just kind of started doing music, and I just instantly was kind of drawn to him because of his sound. And that genre in itself, like that lane, it's wide open right now, and he's really good at what he does, and he makes all of his beats and does all of his own production and stuff. And so him and I have worked a lot together, and he, like I said, he was one of the first people that I could think of to reach out and have him be a part of it. And he was definitely glad to, and had a lot of fun doing it.
Um, I love that support, and I could tell because you kept bugging me about it. You were like, Adam, like I have all this. Would you add him, please? It was also a surprise too. Like he didn't sign up. Like I didn't get a sign up thing, but I just had to just trust that you and Aaron got it because he does things. He sometimes does things out of my reach. He just does things. Without telling me.
And Aaron's always he's Aaron. I've noticed, like, every time I talk with him, he's always got just like a million things going. It's like I almost feel bad for him, but that's part of it. I know how it goes. So that's why I was like, well, if I could play middleman here and work it out, because I knew he'd understand. It's not like it would have ruined a friendship by any means, but I didn't want to be that guy like, oh, well, I know I told you about this and told you I could get you on, but sorry and shit.
Okay, now that was tea. I did not know that about Like I knew about the million things, but I did not know like how closely that is. I'm gonna get him later. I mean,
Aaron, yeah, I like Aaron a lot. The first time, when he had reached out to me about signing with them, I was, of course, a little sketchy. I'm not gonna lie. Some dude reaching out to me on Instagram talking about signing me to a label, like, that I've gotten a million of these messages at this point. So him and I kind of talked back and forth, and he's like, man, if you'd like to, I'll send you the Discord info, and we can hop in and do a video chat and kind of chop it up and talk about, what we're doing over here and what we'd like to do with you. And, if it sounds like something you want, cool. And if not, no hard feelings. And so him and I got on a video chat, and I mean, we probably talked for 2.5 hours by the time it was all said and done. And, I kind of knew from the minute we started talking that, I was going to sign and work with those guys. But by the end of the conversation, there was definitely no doubt in my mind, because those guys over there, I have the same vision that I do, that we just want to see everybody eat. I mean, there's enough of it out there for everybody to get some. And if we support each other and work with each other and bring each other up, we can achieve anything we want to, man. We just got to support each other and grind it out, and you know survive the hard times, man, and the self-doubts and the wanting to give up. And there's bigger things for us in the picture. So
Exciting. And I'm so thankful that you found, the label. I didn't even think you were like signed up until he sent the roster over to me and he was like, check this out. I'm like, oh, is that obsolete? Oh, look at that. That was impressive. Look at that.
Yeah, I was pretty excited.
Like, did he just say congratulations, you're signed to the label, or like, did he do that, or he just just did, hey dude, got a surprise for you.
So when he reached out, on Instagram, that was, that wasn't the first thing he had mentioned. But after a few messages back and forth, he had mentioned it, and he's like, obviously, this is what what's going on. He's like, and if you want to talk about it, by all means, give me a call. And like I said, by the time we had ended the conversation, I just knew, like, that's what I needed to do. These guys, believe in me, and they're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing, and so it was just kind of like, all right, where do I sign? So,
Oh my god, you were that instance, like, yep, I'm a sign, yep. Wow, alright, okay. I see you. Um, and speaking about that, I'm excited for your album coming up. Is this your debut album as a solo artist, or you did other big projects before?
this is a debut, like, as the solo artist as Obsolete. I've had one album that I did before as the other artist name that I was using, but it was still kind of a collective project. But this is the debut, full fledged, my album done completely my way.
Wow, amazing. How was that? Having that creative freedom, how is that?
It's fun and very, very stressful. It's been a long road to get here. Like I said, the first couple releases I did all on my own. I tried to engineer myself, and get sounding good enough so I could release. And they just weren't quite there quality wise. So I, waited and was still writing and working on it. And, it's been about a year and a half in the making, and finally got the last two tracks coming back from Hermian, and it's cool to see it all put together, and how I've got the playlist lined up, how the songs kind of go from one to the next, and it's fun. But like I said, it's a little bit stressful.
Oh yeah, you don't have the dependency of another person anymore. It's like it's all you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But uh, but it is amazing though if you get to, you know, you get like in complete freedom and you're working with Enigmatic. Like I love Enigmatic. Like I chat with the guy every single, day of my life. Every day I chat with them and check out their shit. Like you're in good company. Props to that. You're in good company.
Yeah, I appreciate that. They're definitely some good dudes over there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Life did take a turn on you. Like, did you ever think, this could happen to a guy like you? Like, you were once like a promoting like small artist, and now you're on your way to something even bigger. Did you ever think this could happen?
I knew the possibility was there. I mean, obviously, you see people, like, I've seen a lot of guys that I've seen doing music for years. I mean, Kato, the producer, that's one of the biggest names I can think of right now. And watching, him doing the little contests that he did over the years. Back when he was with Funk Volume and stuff like that, and just watching guys like that, get to that point in success. I knew it was possible, but I never thought, I'd be enough on somebody's radar to really be out there. But then again, like I said, the first 10 plus years I was doing music, I had probably did a handful of shows, and they were mostly local shows. So I had never really pushed myself outside of my comfort zone, so to speak. And now, like I said, this last year, I've done 7 shows. I've done 4 of them up in Louisville, Kentucky, which is about 2.5 hours away from me. I've done 2 of them in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is about 45 minutes away. And then I did 2 of them down in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's about an hour and a half away. And it's, it's crazy. Like, you know, getting on stage and finally getting out there when, that wasn't normal for me. Like, even when I had got on stage the first time last year, that was the first time I had been on stage in probably, 7, 8 years. So it was weird for sure, because it took a minute to kind of let the spotlight, not be so bright and not so hot. And but once first couple seconds of the song got going, it was just like, riding a bike. It's like I was meant to be.
Absolutely. And I feel like that too. Like, I had a feeling because when I first met you on Facebook, I checked out some of your music. I was like, yep. Like, I knew, like, this could happen, but, you know, look how much it took you. I mean, now this is, like, exciting, this is, like, huge what's going on. Like, have you really took all this in? Like, really took in all the success? Have you took this all in?
It took me a minute. Like, right after I had signed with the label, my fiance had asked me one day. She's like, I had said something about, oh, I got to talk to the guys at the label or something along those lines. And she's like, how does that feel, by the way? And I was like, I hadn't really thought about it, I guess, but it definitely feels good. And it's still, I don't know if I want to call it humble. I tell people all the time, I'm awkward as can be until I get, it takes me a minute, even at shows where I know people and stuff. It still takes me a minute to kind of get in that comfort zone, because I deal with my own anxieties and things like that. But it's like it it doesn't feel real to me. Still, these people, hey man, I love your music, awesome show, stuff like that. Like, it almost feels surreal to me, because again, it took me a long time to realize I even deserved it, let alone, that people would give it to me. So it's definitely a weird feeling, and I don't think I've taken it fully in, especially because, like I said, this year, one of the first songs. So I'm waiting on DistroKid to upload what'll be my first single of the year. It's called Smooth Talk. It's got myself, a buddy of mine, Don Blacksmith, that I've known for years. He's a buddy of mine out of New York, and then it's got Capadonna from Wu Tang on it. And that was from a beat pack that I had got through some guys, Temper Beats. But my next release after that is going to be Disappear, and that's featuring Chris Calico on a Wishmaster beat. And that's another one of those as well. Wish and Chris kind of did this beat, combo thing a couple months back. And when I first heard about that, I was like, I have to hop on that opportunity, like, to feature on a song with somebody like Chris Calico, who, his music is one of those guys who, at one point, really pulled me out of a dark place. So to even, have the opportunity to be on a song with somebody like that, for a guy like me is insane, because, that guy is like, I mean, yeah, he's a celebrity, but I had the pleasure of actually meeting him last year on a virtual meet and greet. And like I said, I'm an awkward person. The first like 2 minutes, I could tell I was really awkward. And he's like, "Man, don't worry about it." He's like, "I get it. Just treat me like everybody else." And to say, I'm on a song with Chris Calico, like, that's insane to me, because I'm just some little dude from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, that's you know, does music, not for a living. I mean, I work a regular 9 to 5 job, and, all that stuff. But to say I've had the opportunity to be a song, with him is insane.
I can imagine that. I mean, working with a talented producer, I take that. I take that chance any day.
Yeah, and Wishmaster, I mean, that I did not realize, how far back Wishmaster had been doing stuff. He had actually, kind of come on my radar this year through, these shows that I did in Nashville. And, realizing how long he had been doing it and how far, how far back him and Chris went, it was just kind of weird. Like, I had actually, before I really knew who he was, I had bought some beats online from him, um, and then found out he was coming to the showcase show that I was doing in Nashville as a special guest judge. And it was just weird, like, how everything lined up. I just found out about him, few months prior to that, wound up getting some beats. Now all of a sudden he's going to be judging at this showcase. Like, and then one of the songs that I performed at the showcase was on one of his beats, my song 86. And that was just, again, it was crazy to me. Like, I'm here performing a song on this huge, platinum winning producer on one of his beats and watching me do so. Like, and I shook his hand and spoke to him. Like, it's crazy to me. I've met celebrities before. I'd met Tom McDonald years ago, and I'd met Ritz and guys like that going to shows. But that was always as a fan. That's a different ball game. But sitting there and shaking a guy like Wishmaster's hand as an artist myself, and showcasing myself, it was definitely weird for me.
I can imagine. Like, what? You met Tom McDonald? I can't believe that. I'm so jealous now.
It was pretty cool, man. I will say, he performed at the Warehouse in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is one of the same venues I actually performed at this last year. And it was awesome. Like, before he performed, he was out talking to fans, talking to everybody, meeting, signing autographs, and the show he did was amazing. And then afterward, he was still, I mean, he hung around forever signing autographs and just looking out for people. So it was pretty cool.
Oh man, so lucky. Now I'll hate you because you got him. I was just kidding. Man, so jealous. I mean, I guess that's the perks of being a dad and 30. I guess that's the perks.
That whole show too, it wound up like there's a whole long story as to how we even wound up getting to see him in concert. Like, it just one of those right time, right place, perfect timing moments. So it worked
Are you
out.
kidding me? So you didn't even have to. You didn't even have to lift a finger. Now I really hate you. Now I really do. Know. Can y'all believe this? Come on. Uh, the only thing that'll make it worse if you actually talk with him.
No, unfortunately, that would have been pretty dope. But I wasn't really on anybody's radar at that time. Like I said, I was there more as a fan than anything else. So
Oh, gotcha. You still listen to his music?
yeah, I prefer a lot of his older stuff compared to most of the newer stuff. But I definitely like what he's doing.
Nice. Well, I can see why you prefer the older stuff. I mean, you're from around his time, so I could definitely see the relation. Get it?
Nice.
Sorry, y'all. I like puns. I'm sorry, I like puns.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a good
Yeah. That's
pun.
why I tell people when yet they're cringed by, like, come on, I like puns. Now, another thing that I was curious about is, of course, your artist name, Obsouleet. Um, so does Obsouleet, kind of reflect on your own life? Because obsolete means like out of order or something different. Like, does that reflect your life, or is that like the opposite?
That's kind of what drew me to it. I think when I was thinking of names, because when you think of obsolete, you think of something that just it doesn't exist. It's not important. It's obsolete. And that's like I said, kind of the story of my life. I was never, you know, the kid that I like I said, not bringing up too much of my past, but I was me and my parents haven't spoken in 9 years probably, and it'll be 100 years, before I ever plan to
Oh,
speak to them again. And that was yeah, I was 27 years old before I finally stood up and said, enough is enough. I know who I am. I know what I'm worth, and I don't have to allow you to be in my life. And honestly, that was one of the most freeing moments ever. Because I think at that moment I truly became who I was supposed to be because, I tell everybody my grandmother raised me from the time I was 10 years old until I was about 14. I lived with her and my grandfather, and that was the closest thing to a parent I had ever really had growing up. And thanks to her, I really learned what being a man and being, just a respectable person is. So, I lost her in 2008, and ever since then, it was like, I'd always felt like I never really belonged. My parents really didn't give a shit. They put on the facade and tried to act like they did, but I'd always felt like, I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't, nobody cared. So Obsolete was kind of, who I really was. Like, that's kind of who I felt like I am, and that's my character as well. The little logo I have. I call her my Mama
Oh,
Maggie.
cool.
I'm blessed to have this woman in my life. She is my step aunt by marriage. I've known her, my whole life, and this woman has become like a mom to me over the last few years. And she loves my music, and she's not a fan of rap music by any means. She That's not her style, but she loves my music. And she told me one time, she said, I love your logo because even though it's a little morbid and twisted, it's definitely fitting for you because it's kind of this teddy bear that's been beaten and abused and sewn back up together and still pushing on. And that's who I am. Like, I've had the shit kicked out of me, by life, and could have easily just given up. And that's the easy route, and nothing about me's ever been easy. I don't know what the definition of quit is, and I don't ever want to. It's like I'll keep doing what I love doing, and clawing and fighting until the day they bury me. And I actually just put in a song recently, they better bury me deep because I might come back because that's how crazy my ass is.
Wow.
So
But like on a serious note though, like wow, like I never knew how much pain you endured. Like firstly,
and
sorry,
it's
go.
you're fine. I mean, I tell everybody, it took me a long time to not necessarily accept it, and even be comfortable talking about it. But, I came to the realization that that's not on me, that's on them. And when I had that moment of clarity to realize, like, just because that's how they chose to treat me and view me doesn't mean that's how everybody else does. And once I finally broke that, I think that was really when my music took a complete turn because I finally started being comfortable about talking about that stuff and letting that out. And, I'm not, I could sit here and whine and complain and, mom and dad didn't do this and all of that. But it's like, I'm grateful for going through that because it made me who I am today, and it made me an amazing father, which was a big thing for me. Growing up, I always knew I never wanted to be anything like the person that was supposed to be mine. And I am nothing like that, so I'm grateful for the lessons it taught me. I mean, it's a shitty way to go and it's a hard way to learn, but at the end of the day, it made me who I am. So, I why not be appreciative? It's like, yeah, it sucks, and I wouldn't want anybody to go through it, but it allowed me to become who I am.
Exactly, exactly. And it was like breathtaking the way that you took charge and you really took charge of your own, of your own life. I mean, you have no offense, but shitty parents, by the way.
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, and I'm grateful. Like I said, I had my grandmother raise me when I was young, and still learning in life. And now I have my mama Maggie in my life, who that woman loves me, like I am her son. And people like that especially her, she's not even blood. She don't really have to even have a relationship with me anymore. And her and I have this bond that it's insane, and I'm so grateful for that because like I said, had I had a different childhood, I don't think her and I would have the relationship we have. I don't think I'd have the relationship with my kids that I have. So it was all learning lessons. I mean, sadly they were tough, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't change
Mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm. Absolutely. I even consider the whole I even consider the whole experience you had, beforehand, a lesson because God, I I had a similar life like that, but I didn't feel like I belonged either. So I feel like that experience was a teaching moment, because it shows first of all that your parents are terrible. And then, and then second, it shows, signs of who you are or like clues of who you are. Like it kind of starts to map out, what your life before will look like. You must have been a tough cookie because you like wrestling, which I love wrestling. Like I still watch Raw. Like anybody who asks me like on Saturdays I would watch Raw because I love wrestling. But my point is that I consider that a teaching moment. I don't know if you do, but I do consider, you know, the whole experience beforehand like a real, teaching moment. I don't know if that's the same. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I definitely it taught me a lot for sure. And like I said, it you don't have to be, that was I guess that what makes me appreciate the friendships and relationships I do have now is because, blood doesn't make you family, and you don't have to be who you come from or anything. Like, we can break our own generational curses. It all stops, with whoever. If you decide to break the cycle, the first way I explained it to people for so long, everybody was like, I just don't understand, like, how do you just cut your parents off like that? And it's like, well, if I went to the hospital tomorrow and they told me I had gangrene in my leg, and and have to cut them in my life, and I know that's crazy to some people, like when they hear that, but that's one thing I tell people all the time. Family can be the best thing and it can be the worst thing, but at the end of the day, we are our own person. We determine who we want to be. We don't have to be what anybody else thinks we are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's just overwhelming for me, so if I don't respond, like that's why. Sorry. Um,
Oh, you're fine.
does that side of you that strives, and that is, free, does that reflect in the music too?
Oh, it definitely does. You can hear that, like I said, a lot of my pain and stuff with my songs, but you can hear that hunger too. Like, I want, not necessarily for people to know who I am, but like my biggest thing is, even if a few people hear my message and, just like what we were talking about, with the breaking the generational curses and all of that stuff, like, I want to use my music as a tool to do that because some people might be going through similar shit and scared to talk about it or not not know what to do. It's like, and I'm that person. Like, I tell my friends, or even if I don't know you, like, my inbox is always open because life is a motherfucker and it will kick you, and just when you think it can't get any worse, it'll kick you again. But at the end of the day, it's how we respond, and we could let it get the best of us and just accept things are the way they are and nothing will ever change, or we can keep grinding and keep going, and when they tell us no, we tell them yes, and when they say no again, we tell them fucking watch me. And that's kind of what it boils down to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not wrong. I mean, God, like, why did I buy self-help books? Like, I'm starting to regret buying self-help books. I'm learning so much more than some crappy white women would write in their self-help book. I'm even a man. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta get rid of those books. When this is done, we gotta get rid of all those books. I mean that is bullshit compared to like what I'm hearing now. It's like damn, like this is even much.
I tell people all the time I should write a book, like, and I think I might do that in my later years in life, because just the shit I could tell people, it sounds like it's straight out of a fucking movie. And it's like, no, that's my life. It's like, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but it's like, the things I've seen, the things I've went through, less men, would have gave up. I mean, honestly, it's that's the reality of it. I faced times where I wasn't sure where my next meal was coming from, what I was gonna do, how I was gonna figure some shit out, and whether it was God or whatever it may have been. I've always been one. I'm gonna hustle until I get it, and you know, like I said, I've seen it and been through some things that you're just like, wow, man, that can't be real. Like you saw that in a movie, right? Like, no, no, that's my life.
Hey, you're not, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. You've got to create a book. Like, if only people really knew like that inside, like things would be so much better. Like, they need to hear those lessons. They need to hear the experiences because there's kids and adults. I've interviewed a lot of them that are just like you. They feel out of place. They don't feel, they don't feel like they belong. So you're doing one. It's official. I'm putting it into my reminders. Remind Obsolete that you're writing a book. I'm gonna put it right now on my reminders. And I might even have to spam you. Remember? You get a book.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Aaron hits me up all the time. He's been on my ass since he found out I was pretty close to finishing the album. He's every couple of days. So how's that album coming along? It's like, man, my work is done. I'm just waiting on the engineer
Oh
guys.
yes,
It's
absolutely.
like I done did my part. But I love it, man. I love, like I said, that's another reason why when people hit me up for features, like I always jump on that. Especially there's times where I'll go a week without really writing anything, kind of getting that writer's block funk, and then somebody will hit me up and be like, "Hey, man, I want you to jump on this song," and it's like kind of gives you that spark, like, all right, the little kick in the ass to get something going.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm not surprised about that. Aaron has been, oh, he's been not like a horrible ugh, but like a positive ugh. Like he's been bothering.
He's on it,
Yes,
man. He is grinding. He's got a mess. I tell him all the time. I was like, you got a mastermind, dude. You definitely. He sees it, man, and that's what sold me. Just hearing the passion that he had talking to him in that video chat, like that's that same passion and energy that I've got, and want to do.
absolutely. And I feel like y'all relate so much, because difference with like I can feel you guys relate because he's different from others too, and y'all relate a lot. So I'm not surprised you guys were crossed.
Yeah,
And not gonna lie, he bothers me too. Not gonna lie, like he keeps trying about. Well, you're an artist, so it's different, for me. But it's almost like a simile, almost when he chats with me. It, but oh
that's
yeah.
funny.
And just speaking about the book, about the lessons. First, I appreciate him. First of all, I'm not 30. Like people, first of all, they think I'm 30, but I'm really not. Like firstly, I do really appreciate this incredible talk. First of all, like I've learned so much. I can't wait for your new music. Um, things are coming, and I can't wait to see how this music, career works out for you. Like this warms my heart. Hearing all this stuff from you, and you know, it means a lot to me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, anything for you. Literally anything. Um, one last thing though is that it's time for your little showcase. Time to get these people some goodness. Let her rip.
So what I'm gonna pull up is it's called Groundhog's Day. It's going to be I say the first track on the album, but it's actually going to be the second track on the album. It's just the first actual song on the album. I've got a little intro on the album, but it's called Groundhog's Day, and it's basically just that. Like it's kind of a summary of me feeling like my life's on constant repeat. I'm running this hamster wheel, and every day is Groundhog's Day.
Clever.
So this is going to be yeah. So this, like I said, this is gonna be the first actual song on the new album that's gonna be dropping about February. The album's called "The Dystopia of an MC," and this is Groundhog's Day. Can you hear the music?
Kind of, but yeah.
Hey, let me turn Christmas. You got a little better.
Yep.
Alright. I'll fade away, classify myself as obsolete. Puppies before Christmas, people say hello. Everyone at the ground, wishing she wasn't late. Not just moving slow. When family get together, let's stop the traffic roads bad due to the weather. See was bad. They made a bad decision. They did the crime, but now you'll be in prison. Guess what they had in mind? Happily ever after. Bring it the minute on the rest that I had to slam. She was king shit. Sat on the lights throne. She was the queen bitch. Heart made of stone, but never big dreams. And the grand plans flew out the window when the doctor you in their hands. Harsh reality, pride and ego, they had to swallow. So that they wasn't the only one with a vibe. But when this war, grandma said it been this from above. Got the proof on his head, it had you up in God's love. But then he was the devil, I know that this is it. But the first couple years, love they tried faking it. It was real easy, cause they were far from home. 6 months of darkness in a completely different time zone. Born in Alaska, but he's no Eskimo. All this thing you told me, how'd you think this would go? How guess it from day one, wonder why he's filled with rage. Cause he's the groundhog in the hamster wheel stuck in a rat cage. Wonder why he's filled with rage. Groundhog in the hamster wheel stuck in a rat cage. Wonder why he's here in a rat cage. But yeah, that's gonna be the little intro first single off the Dystopia of an MC album. Like I said, that's a little bit of, the backstory of me coming into the world, I guess. I
Wow. Impressive. Impressive pipes you got there.
appreciate
Yeah, of
it.
course.
I appreciate it. It's been a long time. Like I said, I've been doing this for so long, and I'm just, I'm having fun for a change. I'm just writing what I feel, and I'm not forcing it. Like I'm not one of those guys that I'm in the studio, 20, 30, 40 hours a week trying to write and beating myself to death to come up with content. Like I write when I feel like writing, and if I'm not, writing what I feel like I should be writing, I don't beat myself up and let it, it is work. Yes, I don't want to take anything away from that by any means. It's work, but I want it to be fun too, because at the end of the day, this is my hobby. This is what I love doing. And that was one of the biggest things that made me kind of shy away from it before, was it felt too much like work. And, like I said, it is work, obviously, but you can't force, something. If it's not natural, it's not authentic. That's just how I feel about it. So if I'm, I'll sit here. I mean, there's times like I'll be real with you earlier today. Like I said, I had that show last night, had a long drive up, had a long drive back, didn't get much sleep last night. So I kind of laid down and went to take a little power nap earlier, and I'm laying there trying to sleep. And I just had this, couple little 6 bars running through my head that was to a beat that I'm kind of working on now, and it just kind of kept playing in my head and kept playing in my head, and I'm like, all right, damn it, and I put my glasses on real quick, and I grabbed my phone and I wrote it down because I knew if I didn't write it down, I wouldn't remember it when I got up. But that's kind of how I write and approach this music stuff. I take it, a little differently, I guess, than most. But that's how I enjoy writing. That's how I feel like I keep the most authentic, for myself.
And that you succeeded in because you're definitely authentic. And that you did. um,
Never find another like me. I tell people
oh,
all
never.
the time.
I can't find anyone like you. There's no other. Like I looked on Google, you're the only obsolete. Like you're the only one.
You know what's funny? You said that. I didn't know that I could actually like Google myself. I know that's weird, like even saying that, but like my mama Maggie, I talked to her about a week ago, and she was saying, one of her friends had Googled me, and I was like, wait, you can actually Google me? Like, hold on. And I Google it, I was like, oh shit. All right, that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. I even did my own show once. That was like nice. I'm all over Google. Like, oh my god. Now you're gonna be even more on Google because the show is on a lot of platforms. You'll be like worldwide.
Oh yeah, that's the plan, man. I'm this year I did a lot of shows last year, so this year I'm going to be working on a lot of the new content and putting a lot more behind my promotion and getting my merch going a little better and just pushing this music to the masses. Because I mean, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant by any means, but I know don't you'll never find anybody that sounds like me. For one, I can do a lot of different things musically, as far as what I do as an artist. But I tell people all the time, you know, I want to be the hardest working room dude in the room, and that's not a diss to anybody else, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know if I push myself, what I can achieve. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm going for. Like, you can tell me no all you want to, but I'm gonna fucking do it, whether you like it or not.
Wow, damn you crazy. Wow, damn.
Got no choice.
Sorry, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm saying I wasn't left much of a choice. I mean, when the expectations are low, I knew I could, exceed whatever expectations anybody had for me. So it was the expectations that I set for myself. And I've been told my whole life I was crazy. I'm a scrawny ass white dude out of country ass Kentucky trying to be a quote unquote rapper. So, I knew that the laughs and, it took me a long time being comfortable telling people, like, I tell them I do music and they're like, oh, what do you do? And I know people look at me and they assume, I'm gonna do one style as soon as they hear me, or I'm gonna have this sound or something, and then I get up there and just watching the oh shit moment, I guess, so to speak, on people's faces when they realize, like, oh damn, dude's actually pretty good. Like,
I am not surprised. Like you're like overwhelmingly really good.
well, I
Yeah, of
appreciate that.
course. I mean,
And then when I blow up, you can be like, man, I had that dude
yeah,
on a podcast, and I called it. I knew
yeah. And I was thinking that
it.
too. You know, it's crazy. If I saw you, I imagine it for a sec. I imagine all my interviewers on Grammy stages or accepting awards, and my first be like, "Who is that?" And then the host would say, "Obsolete, you're getting this blah blah blah," and I'm like, "What? I remember him." Now that stage, I'm promising you one thing: you better not forget about me. You better not,
Oh hell no! I'm grateful for all these opportunities, stuff like this, man. I tell people all the time, these little interviews and these little podcasts and stuff, it helps us artists so much. Like, I don't think you guys realize what it does, and I'm grateful that you even just want to sit down and talk to somebody like me. So, it's like stuff like that. You can't ever forget the people that actually showed you love, when nobody realized what the hell you were doing.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're speaking truth, and you're 10 times my age.
I tell people all the time, man. A buddy of mine used to tell me back in the day, I speak that ghetto gospel, and I didn't really realize, what he meant. But he was like, man, you just got an old soul, bro. Like talking to you, you think you're 60, 70 years old, man. He's like, you're a very smart person. You're very well spoken, and it's like music was definitely a good choice for me because it allows me that freedom and opportunity to do so.
Oh yeah, 100%. But all aside, this was amazing meeting you, and you know, meeting somebody like you, you're unique. Like I'm not gonna find someone like you. So I really do appreciate this a lot. You have no idea.
Well, Again, like I said, I appreciate you having me, and I'll definitely get back on here anytime and do it again. I'll definitely reach out to you once I get this album dropped. I'm gonna do it digitally, but I'm probably just gonna do it solely through like YouTube for the moment, or I might just do like iTunes and stuff. I haven't decided because I am gonna do physical copies, so I'm gonna try to push the physical copies pretty hard because I'm old school. Nothing, nothing better than popping in a CD in the car or in the stereo at home and just vibing out. But I'm going to be uploading it on some streaming services. I haven't really decided which ones yet, but as soon as I get that dropped, I'll definitely let you know. And you have to check it out and let me know
Absolutely,
what you
and
think.
hey, you're not wrong. I love CDs. I even love vinyls. I know some people old, but I still listen to vinyls. I still listen. I still listen. It's really good.
My one day that's what I want to do. When I get a couple songs that I really like, or even if when I come to retire or something like that, that's what I want to do one day. I want to have a vinyl just for myself, never to play, anything like that. I just want to have a vinyl with my music on it, just because I think that would be dope. Like it's that old school, man. Like it's a different time, but man, when I think vinyl records, I think back when music was thriving. You could go to any genre, and there were several artists that were just putting out great music. And that's to me what it's all about. Like no disrespect to these guys, these I guess people call them the mumble rappers, and all that stuff. Like not hating on anybody because I'm not that kind of person. But to me, music is art. Like I want you to paint a picture for me with your words. I want to see what you're saying, and that's why to me when I think vinyl records, that's what I think of. I think of the era where people were telling stories, and you get goosebumps when you hear that stuff. Like that's what music is to me.
Dude, you touched me. I felt that. Dude, I felt that 100%. I did.
I mean, I tell people all the time, music saved my life, in more ways than one. Like, I remember being that little kid, me and my buddy were actually talking about it the other day back when Walkmans were a thing. I remember being that kid on the bus. My Walkman was so beat to hell, I had it rigged up with a
Oh
rubber band and
God!
all kinds of shit to keep it closed. And, the first Marshall Mathers LP was, big at that time. And, I just remember, being young like that, coming into my teenage years and being that kid like I told you about, coming from the shit I was and just hearing the stuff like Eminem was doing at that time and other artists like I found Notorious B.I.G. and Bone Thugs and DMX and all that stuff at that time. Like that's really when hip hop and rap had came into my life, and it was like, man, I loved old school rock and roll. That's old school rock and country was kind of what I was raised on. But when I came across hip hop, it was just like, man, I feel this, like and it kind of made me realize like that was I didn't know it then, but I think that was the light switch. Like man, this is what you're supposed to do. This is home. So
Absolutely, 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 100%. And just in addition to all the wisdom you spread upon us, is there any last words you'd like to say, for the audience? Because we've been so overwhelmed. I don't think they can take it. They need some time to take in what you said.
uh all I can say is, I mean, first and foremost, like I said, thank you again for having me. And anybody that's tuning in, checking this out, I appreciate all you guys listening and hearing my crazy story and learning a little bit about who I am as an artist. I'm excited for all you guys to check out my music and feel free, like I said earlier, I'm that person, man. You ever down in a deep dark place, and just need somebody to fucking vent to, reach out, man, and just remember everybody can tell you no, but only you can tell yourself yes. And at the end of the day, keep fucking grinding no matter what anybody tells you, because at the end of the day, we only get, one life, no matter, I mean, if you're religious and all that shit aside, but we get to physically live this life on this earth, this one time, and live it your way, man. Don't be a miserable person working a job you hate, and sitting back when you're 60, 70 years old going, man, I wished I would have, I never wanted to be that person. And I don't want anybody to be that person because at the end of the day, like I said earlier 100 times, life fucking sucks, but we can make the most of it and learn to dance in the rain and enjoy it and weather the fucking storms. And, you know, at the end of the day, just do what we want to do because it's our way.
Yes, yes, yes. Praise on, praise on. You should be in church too. That should be another one. That'll be another one. I'm gonna make sure to remind you. I'll spam you. I'll spam you later. I'm just kidding. All right, sorry. You all.
Out here, dude.
Oh God, that's a blow. That's a blow up. You all can catch Obsolete down below in link provided. If you guys like live shows, make sure you catch all the ones that he's gonna do in the future. If you haven't already have seen him, Rise of the Phoenix is uploaded on YouTube. So everybody is free to watch it, and it's over 100 views. Not gonna brag. I hope you all had a great time tonight, which is great convo, and I hope you all have learned something. Get it?
Love it.
Hope you all have learned something, took a notepad, took some notes, and had a few regrets. But all jokes aside, I will catch you all next time. Have a great evening, and hey, don't do anything stupid. And anybody else who's just like this guy and your parents are, they're dumbasses. They don't believe in you, or they're on the level that you are. It's time for you to open your mouth and say something.
That's right. Stand up or get ran
Exactly.
over.
Although, if that happens, you gotta learn wrestling. That's another thing. Learn how to wrestle another way.
That's right. Life's gonna throw plenty of punches. You just gotta learn to bob and weave.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you having me, man, and
I
I'll
catch
catch
you
you the
too.
next
Catch you
time.
too. And I will see you all next time. Love y'all. Don't do anything stupid. Peace out.